Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Trash Movie Kings podcast. I am your host, Adam Edwards, joined with some friends, a bunch of creative types from around Houston, around the country, where we try to recreate the feeling that you get when you leave a midnight movie of Labyrinth after having 6 very dirty, very heavy martinis at the Weird Swingers Lounge next door, and you just kind of stand around outside under the marquee, kind of boozily reminiscing about what the hell you just saw. Now, Labyrinth, to be clear, not a trash movie. The movies that we watch in this podcast, absolute garbage. Trash. This is a podcast where various creative types all pile onto a Zoom meeting and watch some of the worst movies in history, looking for the diamonds in the rough. I'm talking movies you've never heard of, I've never heard of, movies that exist on YouTube. Not that they're in the public domain, it's just nobody gives a shit. They're just up on YouTube. That's how bad these movies are. These are trash treasures. This is the kind of crap that makes you question your taste, your reality, your life choices, and then we do all the heavy lifting and we let you know if they're maybe worth your time. Granted, we're in various states of sobriety when we do this, so maybe take it with a grain of salt, but also that's probably the best way to watch these movies. So yeah. Oh, one note. When you hear this sound, that means that you are hearing a clip from the movie session that we recorded prior to the episode of the podcast. And then when you hear this sound, that means we're back to the podcast. Now, if you watch on YouTube, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Which reminds me, we do have a YouTube channel where you can watch all of these for free. It has a video element, so you can see our faces, you can see the editing that's been done, and you can actually see the clips of the movies rather than just hear the audio of it. So yeah, that's about it. And sorry, Apocalypse Howl wanted me to let you know, he wants you to be warned that he has jokes that, you know, are worth warning about. So you've been warned about Mr. Howell's jokes that deserve warning. Cool. All right. Well, that's all I got for you. So enjoy the show.
Let's jump into this.
Okay. No.
All right.
I was going to say that this movie could also be called the Trilogy of Sets, since there was only 3 sets.
What do you have for me this time? Hacking into the stock market, closing down a bank, fixing an election. It's all easy.
Right on.
Welcome to another episode of the Trash Kings podcast. I'm your host, Adam Edwards, joined by producer aficionado Joseph Graham, pop culture aficionado James Puckett, and Bigfoot aficionado Apocalypse Howl.
Hello.
Hello.
So
What's up?
yeah, so Justin Petty is out on assignment this week, so he won't be joining us. But this week we watched a movie called Metamorphosis: The Alien Factor, which is very clearly, I guess to put it lightly, inspired by The Thing. It's a fun flick. It's got a lot of practical effects, a lot of rubber, a lot of latex and things like that in it. But yeah, I guess who wants to take a stab at trying to explain the plot of this film?
Well, I just want to say, first of all, you forgot, in addition to The Thing inspired, it's Honey, I Shrunk the Kids inspired.
Yeah, very true. Very true. There's definitely a Rick Moranis and like
Something happened with a deal. Yeah.
James, take a crack at it.
yeah.
Yeah, you want to try to explain what goes on in this movie, James? I feel like you were up on it more than we were for most of the time.
All right, I could go into like.
You don't have to go into too much detail. We went into so much detail last week. because the movie was so fucking
We
complicated
spent
that
30
we
minutes.
spent at least
this
30
isn't
minutes
that-
trying to explain what the fuck was going on.
This isn't that complicated. It's just more monotonous, or just over stuffed, as Adam had kind of mentioned earlier. So there is basically this guy who is a scientist, or like a low-level scientist working for this corporation, who is working on like mutants and stuff. And the a woman who looks a lot, it reminds us of the character Moira from Hook, Peter Pan's wife, is like his chick in this, and is like concerned about him, and or is goes to him one day and he gets bitten by one of like the mutants he's working on, and then slowly, as like a la the Thing, is becoming this like crazy like caterpillar-esque mutant like larva looking thing. Like he's kind of cocooning for a while, up until like the first half of the film, and then it kind of goes out, and after that into like the caterpillar large what are those D&D mutants called? It's kind of got a version of that, like
Like a
D&D.
Demogorgon type thing?
Yeah,
or like
almost
a-
kind of a Demogorgon body. But
He's
with
got
like
like a sandworm from Beetlejuice face.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
got yeah.
a long, thin, phallic kind of vibe at the front, but
Like Alec
Oh.
Baldwin's face in Beetlejuice.
yeah. And so
Yeah.
during this character like succumbing to this bite and to the metamorphosis, a la the title, the boardroom, the men the men in the corporation are talking in their boardroom about how to stop this guy, I guess, and contain him or whatever, or even if to take him seriously in the beginning. And the girl Moira is telling them that they should, and then she's doing tests on him, and then there's this other guy with a bow tie who's doing tests on them too.
Right. So
And then
yeah.
and he tells them they need a week, and then but then ultimately, that's sort of the plot, is this scientist gets bitten and becomes a demigorgon caterpillar.
They
doing
they
one-
literally call him this thing, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
we get it. But yeah, the movie for the first hour at least is like this confusing flashback. I think the only reason why it's confusing is because the movie does the start in the middle of the action thing, which is a flash forward, and then it has like three different tenses, I guess you would say, or periods of time in which it takes place. Like there's that flash forward, and then there's the past, and then there's the present, and it's all happening at once without any differentiation, really. It's a little confusing. James put it together. We were just like, oh, this is a flashback. We just figured
But
an
it's-
actor was like fucking, I don't know,
It's almost like though, like
similar looking.
they think that's the way to tell a story, is here's something.
It's a little
wrong.
inept.
Yeah, but we'll reverse order it. We're like pre-Tarantino kind of a thing. I don't know.
Yeah, this is 1990, so I get the beginning thing. A lot of movies do that fucking thing where
Yeah.
it's like, oh, this is like the middle of the action. Things are happening, and it's just like some tentacles, which that's cool.
That's fine. Yeah.
That's fine. But then the flash forwards in the middle of the movie discussing what was happening was
In the boardroom.
confusing, to say the least, because it seemed like they were just having meetings about what was going on in the plot, because they were like they were just explaining what was happening, and you didn't realize at all that it was the future until the guy who just got bit shows up in the scene, and then it's like, is this a flashback? Actually, it is really strange. It doesn't make any that
So-
did not work.
Yeah, so I guess like Joey, it sounds like you have a lot of opinions on this, but let's try to distill it down into one simple question. did you like it?
Ooh.
God, it's tough to say. Did I like it? I liked parts of it.
Yeah.
It's mostly really bad. But there are
It's
some
got some
highlights.
really good effects. It's got some really cool shots.
Yeah, there's not much about this movie to expand upon, except for the director is like an animation guy. Clearly knows his way around stop mo and is like a Ray Harryhausen fan of, maybe a big time Ray Harryhausen fan, because there's some really cool stop motion in this.
And so like while we were
man.
watching it, there was a little bit of a debate going on between us with some of the stop motion, where toward the end, with the big reveal of the creature that has been metamorphosizing throughout Michael's body, has revealed itself, and it's in the hallway and everything, and it's this really cool shot of what could be either a giant claymation figure or a miniature claymation figure in a miniaturized set. And Joey and Apocalypse, y'all were kind of debating as to whether or not it was a real, like, life-size claymation or a miniature. And so I don't know. What do y'all think?
Just what? Oh, nice.
Oh, shit, that's awesome.
I'm gonna get out of here.
I think that's a full room.
Maybe.
Set,
Did they really have that in the room?
No, I think that was a miniature.
I don't know. I have to see it again. They could have just put some metal in it. I'm just trying to make a note of when it was. Oh god, there's so much more of this fucking movie. How? That was just 20 minutes.
Yeah,
I mean, it's almost 100% not a giant claymation thing, but it looks really good. It looked really good. Climbing in that like set, like the way they timed it out. Like obviously we would like slow it down and like look at it frame by frame. But as we were watching it, I was like, that looks fucking like it's in that scene. And it doesn't look like they rebuilt the scene small. So it's composited in such a way that the lighting and everything works pretty fucking well. Like shockingly well for this really terrible movie. So this guy knows how to do that. And I liked that aspect of the movie, and I liked the Thing ripoff, and I really liked the fucking guy in the hospital bed cells changing and like just experiencing the pain. We didn't get enough of that, frankly, but it was really good.
God.
I was like, this is very The Thing.
It's like a two-part, like it's the torso, and then you can't see where it attaches because that second piece is like a separate piece.
Do you guys think that's an animatronic? Like,
I think his head. Well,
I think it's a hand puppet.
Maybe. There's definitely like a hand or something in there. Oh, god damn.
is that the gun?
It's like the syringe that he was using.
By this time,
Melted.
even his internal physiology had transformed. His blood became highly caustic.
The last two shots, the critter crawling into the ceiling, and then and then I guess while he's up there, he grows so massive that he bursts.
Oh, did you think that was the same two things? I didn't think about it like that.
I didn't know if it was or wasn't. I could see it being.
Oh no! Are they gonna have a sequel to this movie? That is fucking cool, though. I mean, in some other movie, perhaps, but
I like that.
That was cool as fuck. Yeah, that's like the fucking coolest shot of this movie.
But did she say?
Oh, it's like a big guy.
He's a big man. Well, what happened to the main scientist guy's monster? Because I thought that's what it was. Like there was a little monster that just was like, we're still alive, and then suddenly there's a big giant monster that was probably that guy still.
That one got crushed and then exploded into the light thing.
Right.
The poltergeist light thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so definitely wasn't that one.
That's right. You're right. I'm just dumb. I was
Don't
just
feel
like,
bad, Joey. I didn't know that.
well, I was just like, oh, it just magically came back and is the big guy now in the building. I just was assuming that it didn't work, and there's like, whatever. Here's a big monster again. But no, it could be that little guy. It was like Monsters Inc. Like the way these monsters are sort of like cute in like a Star Warsy Monsters Inc. kind of way, at least in the beginning, and towards even that. Yeah, and real monsters kind of way. I never thought about how like Monsters Inc. sort of rips off our real monsters in a like a aesthetic kind of way. But anyway, yeah.
I was gonna say really quickly too, like going back on what all three of y'all were saying, like that's the best stuff in this movie, and the best like shots is the creature. Like that's where you get inventive movement, and lighting kind of works on it better, and everything else is flat. It's the lighting we talked about. It's not good. It's just predictable looking, television kind of bad, not to harp on television, but bad TV kind of flatness. Yeah.
I think I was sort of watching it and I was like sort of nostalgic for this kind of lighting in a weird way, because you see so much stuff now that has low key lighting and trying to make things look unrealistic, at least in horror movies. Not every fucking show, like
just
not
heightened even
Ted Lasso or anything, like
Yeah, it's somber. It's more somber.
Like trying to make the photography fit the tone in a way that's like too on the nose is like a very big problem in modern horror, and in my opinion, like trying to make everything look like scary when it's like just let it look normal and be scary.
Yeah.
And then this wasn't trying to do that by any means, but it sort of has that element of not trying to make the photography look like green or like dark and blue or whatever the fuck. That was my only thinking on that. But
yeah.
Anyway,
I will say though, they weren't really trying to scare us either, though.
No, not with the fucking clown music every 20 minutes.
Was anybody scared? Was anybody like, there was some weird moments for sure. Was there any
there was a
think?
dream sequence that got real freaky.
Yeah, the dream sequence is good.
And
the
was
whole bed
really,
thing
really fucking cool. Yeah, but it ended up being a dream sequence, which was kind of a drag, but maybe a big butterfly.
Hell yeah. Maybe another squid monster.
Yeah.
What do you think? That looks like a...
Skin is just melting away.
Yeah.
That's so weird. Oh shit, it grew a hand.
Oh, he's grabbing tit.
Give me
Yeah,
this is actually kind of scary.
Yeah, the way it rips the mouth open is kind of gnarly.
Shit, it's got a tongue. Oh, she dreamed that?
Oh my
God.
Fuck that.
Why? Just make that happen.
I know.
I would say, that's probably my favorite part as far as this movie goes, was anything, or maybe that dream sequence, or just anything generally with that weird mutating body in a bed. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. That's actually a good movie stuff.
Yeah.
This movie doesn't continue that, but that scene or anything to do with that
special
effect is pretty fucking good.
So I guess like the next question, and then we'll get into the infamous bees. Would anybody remake this? Should anybody remake this? Apocalypse, what do you think? Should
Well,
anybody
I
remake this
think-
shit?
Well, kinda. I think somebody should remake this meets Zoolander and call it Monomania. I could see the feel of this movie. This has been remade. It's been remade. It's going to be remade again. Especially diving into Bigfoot movies. If you get into these Yeti movies, a lot of them are like this.
Are there cellular restructuring kind of
Not the
Bigfoot
same
movies?
plot, but more thing-ish where you're isolated. Whereas here, we don't even know where the hell they were. You know,
Yeah.
never established where they were. That was one thing about the thing.
Right, you're in Alaska, you're neutral. Yeah, there's no outside forces of this. No one ever calls like the cops or
No.
anything.
They are in this building, and that is it. Like,
Yeah,
it's-
that's
they never go
screams.
outside the building
And
until
the
the
board
very
of
final
directors
shot.
makes the like
Yeah.
they live by the
Right. That screams like we can't afford like a military scene for this cheapy
Right.
thing ripoff. But that's a good point about like cellular changing movies.
Yeah.
Is that what's like the most recent one aside from the Thing remake from 10 years ago now? I don't know.
Are there no other horror remakes that are
I mean,
Yeah.
nobody's
The
remaking
Wolfman, I
any.
guess. Yeah, that was like 11 years ago, and
Yeah, that's
then
like a
it's not straight up
supernatural change.
Hollow
This is
Man?
like a sci-fi
Yeah.
cellular structure.
I
Hollow
don't
Man's
know if
even
there's-
older though. That's like what 2002.
I guarantee you,
2000.
if we dove down that rabbit
Was it
hole, there'd be
The Elizabeth
50.
Moss one?
we've
Oh yeah,
50
sorry. I'm
or
thinking
so.
you said Hollow Man. I thought
Yeah,
Invisible Man.
Oh, Invisible Man. Yeah, I'm thinking. Yeah. my
Okay.
bad.
Yeah. That takes like the old Universal monster thing and kind of makes it a little sci-fi.
I
That's
guarantee you
fair.
there's more of these kinds of movies than there are shark movies.
Nowadays, no, I don't. I would differ. I would argue with you on that. In the last 5 years, I bet there's more fucking shark movies than cellular manipulation movies.
I
True,
will
just because of
definitely
the
say-
success of Sharknado.
as
Yeah.
a not too big of a spoiler, the new James Bond movie, cellular manipulation.
There you
I
go.
haven't seen it.
To a degree. Yeah, to a degree.
Oh,
Are you dating
totally.
it? So no, we have to edit this
I mean,
episode and put it out.
I want to talk about my favorite scene.
What's your favorite
Oh.
scene?
Or
What's your
best
favorite scene?
performance. The girl, I forget her name, but the one that is the doctor or the
Moira.
scientist lady.
Moira,
Moira.
the short-haired, maybe
Yes.
British.
When
we didn't talk
she
about-
goes on like a 2-minute exposition
There's a
single
lot of
shot
exposition. There's
of
so
her-
much.
of her just ranting. And I was like, that's impressive.
You could still save the
I
butt.
don't want him killed. Elliot and I have devised a way to get him back to normal. I won't stand for it. Do you hear me? That creature is still Michael Foster.
I'm doing what I can.
Well, it's not enough, damn it.
Oh man,
What
these
about
actors are
Elliot?
trying
What
so
about
hard.
John Griffin? What are you going to do about them?
That has
Is she
already been
putting on
said.
like the accent that's not real from like old Hollywood movies?
I think so.
What are you gonna do?
I noticed your foul stench when I arrived on board.
I can't believe that's not a real accent. We'll just speak like this because it's clearer. People can understand us with low microphone technology.
Type of biological engineering is expressly forbidden under the UN Germ Warfare Pact. If they could fool Talos into believing that the origin of this
Germ
material was
Warfare
a fact from outer
Pact.
space, they could fool anyone. and
There's
avoid
so
it.
much
Indictment for
dialogue.
violation of the pact.
How long has this scene been going on?
Exactly.
Too
Well, like,
long.
Minutes, I'd say.
Unfortunately, they were not lying.
Oh, Little Shop of Horrors.
Dr. Michael
Okay, we're gonna just leave that.
head of the entire
Yeah.
Say what you
they're-
will about how her acting was or wasn't, but she did all right on that part.
The acting and tone in this whole fucking thing is all over the goddamn place.
Yeah, which is good because now we can get into the Bs, of which there were not a lot.
There's none.
But no, there are some. And
there were no boats.
Just like we normally do, we get to add another
Blood.
B
What
to
if this was
list.
on a boat and we didn't even
I mean, there were
True,
Brits.
yeah. So yeah, the list is boobs. There are no boobs. Long butts, no butts. Boats, none. Birds, none. Butterfly knives, absolutely none. Blood, yeah, there's some good blood. There's some good blood. Bods,
And there were
there's
Brits.
there's
Not
like
really.
bods kind of freaking and like
In a
fucking
freaky
around
way.
and stuff. Yeah.
Mutant kind of way.
Oh,
Blue filters. There was the scene.
There
when they
was
were
a
looking
blue
up
room.
The Blue's Clues.
wow.
Yes, there's the Blue Clues rooms.
Bigfoots. There were no Bigfoots. Brits, though, I don't
They
know if they
tried.
were Brits, but
No.
there were British accents.
They were definitely Americans trying to do British
Yes.
accents.
I have a
in
new
my opinion.
B.
Really? Ballpoint pens?
Ball bearings. In
Ball-
reference to
ball
wheelchairs.
bearings. Oh, well, okay. That's
Well, I was going to say that
we
this
broke
one,
our streak of wheelchairs, I think.
Yes, we did.
Unfortunately, I think it was like 4 movies in a row.
This one we can add the B of boardroom because there was a lot
That
of
is a good
boardroom.
fucking point. These movies have a lot of fucking boardrooms.
Yeah.
There's so
That
many fucking
figured.
boardrooms.
Except they're spelled B-O-R-E-D.
Holy shit. That's a
What do you think was the thinking behind all of the exposition in the boardroom?
I think they're just
Like-
bad at writing.
Yeah, they're just bad at writing.
But
They
why the
needed-
boardroom?
They needed a vessel to progress the story.
Sorry,
Like
I'm
I
so
was paying more
excited about
attention to
writing
what they were
boardroom.
saying when they were in the medical stuff than
Yes. Good call.
when, you know what I mean? So that's what, because yeah, like Mike, like the intensity you feel more.
Yeah, so
that's-
this movie, you will literally get, minutes and like 10 to 15 to 20 minutes of action, and then it's like we're just going to come to a grinding fucking halt.
And talk about stuff
And
that happened.
we're going to
for
have
5
all these
minutes.
people standing around in a boardroom and talk about what you just saw.
Yeah.
And it's staggering. Like, I don't
Yeah, it's literally staggering. Yes.
No, you're right. It goes. Do you remember? It kind of reminds me, if you were to mash up the feel between Honey, I Shrunk the Kids or Bride of the Reanimator meets The Insider or A Pelican Brief. It's just like, what the, like, they just don't match.
Pelican Brief.
They just don't match well.
It's lawyer drama with fucking who's in Pelican Brief? Denzel
Julia
and
Roberts.
Julia Roberts. Is that the only movie they ever did together? It has to be.
Oh no.
It was brief.
David Batman in Schindler's List.
Wait, Julia
Uh,
Roberts is in Schindler's List. That's a different version of it I've seen. Anyway,
So I guess let's get to the rating, the thing everybody wants to hear. Out of 5 bags of trash. We'll start with you, Apocalypse. What are you giving it?
3.
3.
I'm just gonna leave it at a solid 3. And I'll argue that the acting wasn't. I mean, some of the actors were bad. But I can only think of like 3 that were like really bad. The rest, they all did their part. I liken it to this: if you saw this movie in another country where English wasn't the first language and you didn't speak English, I think their performance was good enough to convince you that, hey, if I spoke that language, they might have acted good. Like,
You're
I don't
doing
know
a
how to
Romanian language.
no, I'm saying, like, whenever I watch a kung fu movie or something, and I'm like, whenever I turn off the subtitles or the audio dubs, and I'm like, okay, I can see where there might be good actors.
But they're
But I can't
probably bad, but
tell
it doesn't
if they're
really
good or
matter.
not.
Yeah.
I can't tell if they're good or not at acting with their native tongue being covered up up. I think if you covered this movie up with audio dubs of the language in another country, the people in another country might look at their performance and be like, "This is a
It's
good
pretty
movie."
good.
Yeah, because Italians. That's a good Italian. I didn't know you spoke Italian.
Okay, so
yeah, I agree.
3. All right. James, how many bags of trash out of 5?
How are they good, or does it mean bad?
It's whatever.
It's
whatever's
just
in your
whatever.
heart.
Yeah, like I liken it to like an entertainment value kind of.
Yeah, whatever's in your heart,
situation.
man.
2.5.
2.5. Okay.
Yeah, this was trash that I saw in the back of my garage and was like, damn it, I should have put this out.
Okay.
Sat around a little too long. I forgot trash day till Saturday.
There's some
And,
value, but
yeah.
it needs to go.
Yeah.
What do you think, Adam?
For me, I'm gonna give it 3.5. It's not
3.5.
It's not penetration angst, but
Wow.
some of these special effects are just, you know,
They're
like
beautiful. They are
they
beautiful.
really put a lot of work into some of the effects, the miniatures and everything. Like, the story itself is not great, the direction is maybe not the best, but the effects really sell it for me, so I'm gonna give it 3.5.
Wow. You're right. The miniatures would put Maude Humphrey to shame.
So we got a 3.5, a 3 from Mike, 2.5 from James. I was thinking 2.5 initially, but you guys have started to convince me that you're right. It is pretty fucking. It's beautiful, and I think I'll give it a 3.
Okay.
It's beautiful. Joey, I swear I thought you were gonna tear up.
Like I'm the kid from American Beauty, like this bag of trash floating in the wind. So beautiful. I have to give it a 3 out of 5.
All right.
I'm just
So I
thinking about a
think we're-
YouTube account. Like if that movie, if American Beauty would be made now, like I would have a YouTube account or whatever social media account where you judged bags of trash floating in the wind.
It would be this
Had a review
podcast.
channel.
It would be this podcast. This is American Beauty 2.0.
I mean, they do talk about Reanimator in that as if it is a trash film, although it's a fantastic movie. It kind of makes sense. Lester and I don't remember the kids, neighbor kids. They would start a podcast. 100%, almost 100%. That's where that's where that storyline would be
100%.
going if it was made nowadays, for sure. Let's remake American Pie, or excuse me,
American Beauty. I mean, let's remake both. Let's push.
Let's
both
remake
together.
both. Let's put them both together.
Merge the concept.
But,
All right, anybody?
so there you have it. I mean, you've got Metamorphosis, the Alien Factor, 3 bags of trash on average from the Trash Kings.
Nice.
Any parting thoughts from anybody before we wrap this thing up?
Yeah, you know
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Apocalypse.
what do trans women and biological cisgender women have in common?
This will go well.
Biological women and trans. Excuse me. What did you say?
You know what trans women and biological cisgender women have in common?
Biological cisgender women.
They're all just trying to please assholes. Because men are assholes.
And trans.
Women. It was really good.
So they're all just women trying to please assholes. Is what you're saying. All men are assholes.
Yeah, I'm just saying men are assholes.
All right, very good.
Okay, that's a very progressive joke.
Oh,
Very
was it?
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for more
I
jokes
think-
like that, follow
I gotta go
Apocalypse
clean
Owl
my
on,
AR now.
on
Just to
Instagram
save face.
and catch us on Instagram at trashkings126 and then trashmoviekings.com.
Please, dear, not in front of the mutants. Write that down.
That was a good line. All right. Well, until next week, We'll see y'all later.